There are wounds you never spoke about, not because they were small, but because they were too deep. You learned to live with them quietly. You smiled when it hurt. You carried pain like a shadow, invisible to others but heavy to you. Levida, October is not just another day, it is a mirror placed before your heart, showing you that the pain you never shared is still inside, waiting for your understanding. Healing does not begin when someone comforts you. Healing begins when you allow yourself to finally look at what you've been avoiding for years. You have been strong for too long, and that strength turned into silence. You told yourself that time will fix everything, but time only hides what we don't face. 11 October asks you to stop running from the pain that shaped you. It's time to sit with it, to breathe with it, to recognize that it has always been asking for your attention, not your avoidance. Pain becomes heavier the longer you hide it, and the moment you stop pretending, it starts to soften. This day is a reminder that silence is not healing. Silence without awareness becomes a cage. There is a strength in admitting that you are tired of pretending to be okay. The world teaches you to move on quickly, to distract yourself, to stay busy. But 11 October teaches you something different. It teaches you to pause, to feel, to be honest. There is no weakness in acknowledging what hurts. In fact, the moment you face your pain, you stop being its victim. You become its student. Every hidden wound has a message, and that message can only be heard when you stop numbing yourself. You may think no one will understand what you've gone through. Maybe no one really can. But you don't need the world to understand. You need to understand yourself. The pain you never shared has been shaping your choices, your emotions, your reactions. It has been whispering through your fears and echoing in your silence. And 11th October comes to remind you that awareness is the beginning of transformation. When you become aware of your suffering, it starts to lose control over you. The moment you bring light to it, it begins to dissolve. Sometimes healing looks like breaking. The tears you've been holding back, the emotions you've buried, they are not weakness. They are release. 11th October carries the energy of release. It is the day to let go of the walls you built to survive. You don't need those walls anymore. What protected you before is now stopping you from growing. There is no peace in pretending. Real peace only exists when there is truth. The truth is that you have suffered quietly, and now it is time to heal loudly within yourself. The pain you never shared is sacred. It has been teaching you endurance, patience, and understanding of the human heart. It made you empathetic, made you aware of others' silent battles. And 11th of October reminds you that even pain has served you in some way, but there is a point where the lesson ends and the healing must begin. Holding on to pain after its lesson is learned only drains your spirit. You don't need to carry it anymore. You are allowed to outgrow your suffering. There is a quiet ceremony happening inside you today. 11 October is that moment when your heart decides to stop fighting with itself, and you no longer need to hide your scars. They are not signs of weakness, but proof that you survive. Let this day be your turning point, where you stop seeking validation for your pain and instead give yourself permission to heal. Healing is not forgetting. Healing is remembering without breaking. Every breath you take today can be a step towards softness. You can choose to forgive yourself for staying silent for so long. You can choose to be gentle with the version of you that didn't know how to express pain. That version did the best it could. 11th of October is your reminder to thank that version and then let it rest. From here on, you walk lighter. You speak kinder to yourself. You stop pretending to be unhurt. The pain you never shared does not define you. It refines you. It taught you resilience, but now it must teach you release. You don't need to wear your wounds as armor anymore. You can finally live without the weight of what you never said. The healing you seek is not somewhere outside of you. It has always been waiting within, beneath the silence, beneath the endurance. 11 October is your signal to open that door, to meet yourself without judgment, to finally say, I see you, I hear you, I understand. The pain you never shared will not heal through denial. It heals through awareness, compassion, and patience. It heals when you stop identifying with it and start learning from it. The path forward is not about forgetting the pain. It's about transforming it into understanding. 11th October stands as a moment of awakening, the day you stop hiding your hurt and start honoring your truth. It is the day you finally realize that the quietest parts of your suffering were never meant to be secrets. They were meant to be teachers guiding you back to yourself. For a long time, you believed that staying silent meant being strong. You thought that hiding pain made you disciplined, composed, and unbreakable. But 11 October comes to remind you that strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the courage to feel deeply without losing yourself. You were taught to hold everything inside, to wear a calm face when your heart was falling apart. Yet, true power is not found in pretending to be unshaken. It is found in allowing softness, in letting your humanity breathe. You may think that softness will make you weak, that vulnerability will expose you. But 11th October teaches something opposite. The more you open yourself, the more real your strength becomes. When you allow yourself to cry, to tremble, to admit that something hurts, you are not breaking down. You are breaking open. The strongest tree does not resist the wind, it bends with it. That is what real strength looks like: flexibility, acceptance, and balance. There is a quiet strength in softness that the world often overlooks. The world praises those who keep everything together, but 11 October whispers that keeping everything inside only builds pressure. At some point, the silence becomes too heavy, the mask too painful to wear. You are not meant to carry the world on your shoulders. You are meant to walk lightly, to live honestly, to feel freely. Being strong should not mean being numb. Being strong means being aware of every feeling without letting it destroy you. You have learned to survive by tightening your chest and holding your breath, pushing emotions away. But survival is not the same as living. 11th October brings a different lesson, the lesson of surrender. To surrender is not to give up. It is to let go of the need to control every feeling. When you stop resisting your emotions, they stop controlling you. When you soften, you open the door to healing. Strength built on suppression will eventually break. Strength built on awareness will last forever. Many people think that to stay strong, they must fight against their emotions. But 11 October reminds you that emotions are not your enemies. They are signals, they are messengers. The tears you hold back, the sadness you silence, they are parts of you asking to be heard. When you ignore them, they grow louder. When you listen, they calm down. Letting yourself feel is not a weakness, it's intelligence, it's awareness in motion. The softness inside you is not something to hide. It is a gift that allows you to connect, to understand, to grow. And you, 11th October, calls you to drop the armor, to step out from behind the image of perfection. You don't need to appear unbreakable to be respected. You don't need to be emotionless to be powerful. Power is in presence. Power is in truth. When you are soft, you are real. When you are real, you are unshakable. Every time you allow yourself to feel, you clean the wounds that silence left behind. Every time you let a tear fall, you are not falling apart. You are washing away what no longer belongs to you. 11th October is not about breaking down, it is about breaking free. It is the day you stop fearing your emotions and start seeing them as your teachers. Softness teaches patience. It teaches empathy. It teaches you to listen not to the noise of the world, but to the quiet voice within. There is strength in being able to say, I am hurt, but I am healing. There is strength in being open enough to love again, even after betrayal. There is strength in being gentle with yourself after years of self-criticism. 11th October reminds you that you don't have to fight everything. Sometimes the lesson is to relax into life, to breathe, to let things flow. The more you resist, the more you suffer. The more you accept, the more you grow. Life will keep testing your softness. People will misunderstand it as weakness. Situations will challenge your patience. but do not harden your heart. Stay soft even when the world is rough. 11th of October is your reminder that softness is not surrender, it is wisdom. It is the quiet knowing that nothing lasts forever, that even pain has its time to leave. When you are soft, you adapt, you transform, you survive without losing yourself. To be soft in a hard world is not easy. It takes awareness, it takes practice. But on 11 October, let yourself remember that you were not born to live behind walls. You were born to experience life fully, to feel every emotion deeply, to grow through every challenge gracefully. Strength and softness are not opposites. They are two sides of the same truth. When you master both, you become whole. The pain you hide becomes power when you embrace it. The emotion you resist becomes peace when you allow it. And you are loved. October stands as a symbol of this transformation. The day you stop trying to appear strong and start being strong by simply being honest with yourself. Let your heart soften. Let your breath deepen. Let life flow through you instead of against you. You will realize that the gentlest version of you is also the most powerful one. This is what 11 October brings, a quiet awakening. A reminder that true strength is not about control, but about harmony. It is not about silence, but about understanding. It is not about endurance, but about acceptance. When you learn to allow softness, you stop living in defense and start living in awareness. And from that awareness, healing begins naturally, peacefully, completely. Pain becomes wisdom the moment you decide to look at it with awareness. The difference between suffering and understanding is how deeply you are willing to see. And 11th October is the day that teaches you to see without resistance, to observe your pain without trying to escape it. Every emotion, every disappointment, every scar has been trying to teach you something about yourself. When you bring awareness to it, it transforms. What once felt like a wound begins to feel like a teacher. The pain doesn't vanish, but it no longer owns you. It becomes part of your strength, not your story of weakness. For too long, you may have tried to push pain away, bury it under distractions, or pretend it never existed. But what you avoid doesn't disappear. It waits. 11 October arrives to remind you that awareness is not about fixing the past. It's about seeing it clearly. When you finally turn your attention toward the things you've been avoiding, they start to lose their power. The light of awareness exposes what darkness once held. You realize that nothing inside you is truly against you. It only needs your understanding. Awareness is the beginning of freedom. The moment you see what's happening inside you, you stop being a prisoner of your own emotions. You start to choose your reactions instead of being controlled by them. 11th October symbolizes that awakening. It's the moment when you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to show me? This shift changes everything. Life is not trying to punish you. It is trying to awaken you. Every pain carries a message. Every struggle hides an invitation to grow. When awareness rises, suffering falls. Pain feeds on unconsciousness. It needs you to avoid it, to run from it, to drown it in noise. But 11th October teaches that stillness is the cure. When you sit with your pain, when you simply breathe and observe it, it begins to change shape. It becomes lighter, softer, more transparent. Awareness works like sunlight. It doesn't fight darkness. It simply makes it disappear. You don't have to struggle to heal. You only have to be present with what is. Awareness doesn't mean analyzing everything. It means seeing things as they are, without judgment. On 11th October, let your awareness be simple. Feel what you feel. Don't label it as good or bad. Just be with it. When you stop judging your emotions, they stop controlling you. The truth is, most suffering doesn't come from pain itself. It comes from your resistance to pain. Awareness melts that resistance. It allows life to move through you instead of getting stuck inside you. There is deep power in knowing yourself, not just your strengths, but your shadows too. Awareness helps you see both sides without fear. On the 11th October, look into yourself like you would look into still water. Don't be afraid of what you might find. The moment you see your own reflection clearly, confusion disappears. You stop searching outside for answers. You realize that everything you've been running from has been trying to lead you back to yourself. You may think healing means forgetting the pain, but awareness teaches that healing is remembering differently. 11 October brings the reminder that you cannot erase the past, but you can change the way you carry it. Awareness allows you to see your story from a higher place. Instead of reliving pain, you start learning from it. You see how every challenge shaped you, how every heartbreak deepened you, how every mistake strengthened your understanding. You begin to honor the journey instead of fighting it. Life becomes lighter when you live with awareness. You start noticing the small things, the way your breath feels, the quiet between thoughts, the peace beneath all movement. 11th of October opens this door for you. It invites you to slow down, to observe, to notice the life that exists beyond your mind's noise. Awareness makes ordinary moments sacred. It transforms chaos into clarity. When you are aware, you no longer react, you respond. You move with life instead of against it. Awareness also brings responsibility. Once you see clearly, you can no longer pretend. 11th October asks for honesty. It asks you to stop blaming others, to stop running from your own reflection. When you see your role in your suffering, you begin to reclaim your power. Awareness shows you that healing was never about control, it was about consciousness. When you are aware, you become your own guide. No one else needs to fix you because nothing is broken. There is only truth waiting to be seen. There is peace that comes from awareness, a peace that doesn't depend on anything outside of you. It is quiet, steady, unshakable. On 11th October, allow yourself to feel that peace rising from within. It doesn't need words. It doesn't need validation. It is simply there when you stop running. The pain you once feared becomes a doorway, and awareness is the key that opens it. The more aware you become, the less power pain has. You start to see that everything happening in your life has meaning, even if you can't understand it right away. 11th October carries that message. The moment you choose awareness over avoidance, healing begins on its own. Awareness is not something you gain once, it's something you practice every day. Every breath, every thought, every feeling is an opportunity to see clearly. You have the power to transform suffering into understanding simply by being present. Pain loses its sharpness when it is seen with open eyes. And 11th October reminds you that awareness is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. The moment you choose to be aware, life becomes simple again. You stop chasing peace because you realize it was always within you, hidden behind the noise of unawareness. Pain brought you here, but awareness will carry you forward. Let 11th October be the day you stop running from yourself. See, understand, and accept. When awareness touches pain, it no longer hurts the same way. It becomes wisdom. It becomes light. It becomes freedom. Forgiveness begins the moment you stop fighting with yourself. For years, you may have carried the weight of what you could not change, what you did not understand, or what you were not ready to face. You blamed yourself for things you didn't know, for mistakes that were meant to teach you, not to destroy you. 11 October arrives as a reminder that you have punished yourself long enough. It is time to forgive yourself. Not because you forgot what happened, but because you deserve peace more than you deserve to keep reliving pain. Forgiving yourself is not about erasing your past. It is about no longer allowing it to control your present. Many people think forgiveness is an act of weakness, but 11 October teaches that it is an act of courage. It takes strength to face your own reflection and say, I release myself. It takes honesty to admit that you were doing the best you could with the awareness you had at that time. The person you were back then was not your enemy. That person was simply trying to survive. You have carried guilt like a stone in your heart. You told yourself you could have done better. You could have been stronger. You could have chosen differently. But 11th October whispers that growth doesn't come from regret. It comes from recognition. You cannot heal by wishing the past was different. You heal by learning from it, by using it as the foundation of a wiser, softer, more aware version of yourself. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is understanding that you are no longer the same person who once fell. When you refuse to forgive yourself, you keep yourself trapped in yesterday. You replay the same story over and over, hoping for a new ending that will never come. 11th October is your invitation to stop repeating the story. The past cannot be rewritten, but it can be re-understood. Every mistake held a lesson, and every wound carried wisdom. Forgiveness allows those lessons to become light instead of burden. The moment you forgive, you are no longer a prisoner of your history. You become the author of your healing. Many people wait for someone else to forgive them before they forgive themselves. But 11 October teaches that no one outside of you holds that key. You don't need validation to release your pain. You don't need permission to begin again. The forgiveness that truly heals is the one that comes from within. When you forgive yourself, the chains around your heart start to fall away. The silence inside you begins to soften. The tension in your breath begins to ease. You become lighter, freer, more alive. Forgiveness is not a single act, it is a practice. Every time you remember your past, you will have a choice to hold on to it or to bless it and let it go. 11th October reminds you to choose peace each time. Every time you feel guilt rise, you can breathe and say, that version of me was learning. Every time you feel regret, you can remind yourself, that experience shaped my wisdom. This is how you transform pain into understanding, by meeting your past with compassion instead of judgment. To forgive yourself is to reclaim your power. When you hold on to guilt, you keep giving energy to something that no longer exists. You keep feeding the pain that life already tried to teach you through. 11th October is the moment to stop feeding the past. You cannot walk freely into the future while dragging the weight of your own blame. Forgiveness cuts that rope. It doesn't erase your story, it liberates it. It turns what was once heavy into strength, what was once shame into awareness. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself, because you know your thoughts, your intentions, your failures. But the 11th October invites you to see yourself with new eyes. You are not who you used to be. You have changed, grown, evolved. The person who made mistakes back then is not the same person standing here now. When you realize this, forgiveness becomes natural. It becomes an act of truth, not denial. You cannot become who you are meant to be while hating who you once were. Let 11th October be the day you finally stop apologizing to yourself in silence. You owe yourself grace, not punishment. The mind will try to remind you of every wrong turn, but you can remind yourself that you have already learned from it. The purpose of life is not perfection. It is progress. Forgiveness allows that progress to continue. Without it, you stay stuck in loops of shame. With it, you step into a new chapter with a heart that is open, steady, and unafraid. When you forgive yourself, you open space for peace to return. You stop being at war with your own memories. You stop needing to hide from who you were. You begin to feel harmony again. The quiet strength that comes from acceptance. 11 October holds that energy, a calm surrender that brings clarity. Forgiveness is not about saying that everything was right. It is about saying, I am ready to be free. The moment you forgive yourself, you begin to see life differently. You stop looking backward and start walking forward. You stop defining yourself by your scars and start recognizing them as signs of your transformation. 11th October carries this wisdom. It is the day to end the inner conflict, to stop punishing yourself for being human. You are not the mistakes you made. You are the lessons you learned from them. Forgiveness is the bridge between pain and peace. When you walk across it, you realize that the past no longer has power over you. 11th of October stands as that bridge, a sacred crossing from guilt to grace, from blame to understanding, from self-rejection to self-compassion. Let it be the day you release yourself completely, the day you stop carrying what no longer serves you, the day you finally understand that healing begins where forgiveness begins. Every hidden emotion carries energy. The more you suppress it, the heavier it becomes. The pain you buried long ago is not gone. It still lives inside your body, your breath, your behavior. You may think you've moved on, but the body never forgets what the mind avoids. 11 October arrives as a moment of release. It comes to remind you that healing is not about holding it all together. It is about letting go of what you've been holding for too long. What you don't express transforms into tension, and what you don't release turns into resistance. Sooner or later, that energy must move. When emotions are not allowed to move, they settle into you like stones in a river. You may not see them, but they block the natural flow of your inner life. And 11 October teaches that healing begins when movement returns, when you allow your energy to breathe again. This movement doesn't come from force. It comes from awareness. When you sit in silence, when you breathe deeply, when you stop running from what you feel, the energy that was once trapped begins to flow again. Pain that was once sharp becomes fluid. Tension that was once unbearable becomes manageable. Every emotion is energy in motion. Anger, grief, shame, fear, they are not enemies. They are waves. They rise, they move, they pass. And 11th of October calls you to stop resisting these waves. You cannot calm the ocean by fighting it. You can only learn to move with it. The more you resist, the more energy you lose. The more you allow, the more balanced you become. The moment you let yourself feel fully, that energy begins to transform. It stops being destructive and starts being cleansing. The pain you never spoke about is not waiting to destroy you. It's waiting to be acknowledged. 11th October reminds you to stop treating your emotions as problems to be fixed. They are signals. They are the body's way of asking for attention. When you hold back tears, when you silence your anger, when you swallow your sadness, you are holding back life itself. You are blocking your own vitality. The purpose of emotion is not to control you, but to guide you. When you understand this, every feeling becomes a teacher. Healing is a process of releasing the energy that has been trapped by resistance. And 11th October carries that invitation to breathe, to move, to allow. You don't need to force healing, you only need to stop interrupting it. When you allow energy to move, the body naturally restores balance. The mind becomes quieter, the heart becomes lighter. This is why silence is powerful. It gives energy space to shift. Every breath you take with awareness is an act of cleansing. Every exhale carries away what no longer belongs to you. You may have been taught to suppress emotions to appear strong. But 11 October brings a deeper truth. Strength is not suppression, it is expression done with awareness. The one who can feel fully without drowning in emotion is not weak, that person is free. When you allow energy to move through you, you stop clinging to pain. You stop identifying with it. You become the observer, not the victim. Emotion comes, emotion goes, but you remain. That is the state of real balance. There are emotions inside you that you never gave permission to exist. Maybe you were too young to express them. Maybe you were told it's better to stay silent. But silence doesn't heal emotion. It traps it. And 11th October encourages you to meet those hidden emotions with compassion. Don't fight them, don't analyze them, just allow them to move. Sometimes that means crying. Sometimes it means sitting in stillness. Sometimes it means taking a deep breath and saying, I am ready to release this now. Every act of allowing is an act of freedom. When energy flows, clarity returns. You begin to see why certain emotions stayed with you. You understand how pain shaped your reactions, how unspoken feelings shaped your choices. 11th of October becomes the point where understanding replaces confusion. When you see clearly, you no longer carry emotions as burdens. You carry them as lessons. You stop being afraid of what you feel. You start respecting it as part of your evolution. Emotional energy, when released, becomes strength. The same energy that once caused suffering becomes power once transformed. 11th of October teaches that what you feel is not against you. It is guiding you toward awareness. Every tear that falls, every breath that shakes is not weakness. It is purification. It is the body's way of releasing the past. Healing does not mean forgetting your emotions. It means allowing them to complete their journey. When you suppress emotion, you stay stuck in survival mode. When you release it, you step into life again. You begin to feel your own presence deeply. You move lighter, think clearer, breathe easier. 11th October carries the vibration of this renewal. It is the day to stop storing emotions as pain and start using them as energy for transformation. Every moment of honesty with yourself becomes medicine. Every act of stillness becomes a path toward freedom. You are not meant to hold everything inside. You are meant to flow, to move, to express. Emotions are energy that want to live and leave, not stay unwrought. 11th October reminds you to trust the process of release. Let your body speak through stillness. Let your breath guide the energy home. Healing is not found in thinking about emotions. It is found in feeling them completely and letting them move. The pain that once weighed you down can become the force that lifts you higher, but only when you let it move. The more you open to life, the more life flows through you. 11th October stands as a day of movement, of flow, of surrender. It is the reminder that energy never dies, it only changes form. The energy that was once pain can become peace. The energy that was once fear can become strength. The energy that was once silence can become awareness. Let it move through you. Let it free you. And 11 October is not just a day on the calendar. It is the day your inner energy remembers how to flow again. 11 October is not just another date. It is a moment of release, a silent turning point. It comes like a breath of wind that moves through the closed spaces of your heart, whispering that you no longer need to hide what you feel. You have spent years trying to stay strong, trying to appear unshaken while storms raged inside you. But 11th October arrives as a reminder that pretending to be unbroken is not the same as being healed. Healing is not about ignoring pain. It is about transforming it into light that no longer controls you. For a long time, you may have carried emotions you didn't speak about, pain that lived quietly inside your chest. You convinced yourself that silence would protect you, that if no one saw your wounds, they wouldn't exist. But 11th October teaches the truth. What is hidden grows heavier. What is ignored grows louder. Healing begins when you finally decide to face yourself honestly. This day asks you to stop covering the scars and start seeing them as reminders of your strength. There is no freedom in pretending. Pretending only postpones peace. You cannot hide forever from the parts of yourself that need attention. And 11th of October marks the moment you stop running from your truth. You begin to understand that everything you avoided was never there to break you. It was there to wake you. The pain that you tried to bury has been waiting for your awareness. It has been waiting for you to say, I am ready to let this go. Healing does not happen when time passes. It happens when understanding enters. The light that heals does not come from outside. It rises from within the same space that once held the darkness. 11 October carries that realization. It teaches that every painful experience contains energy, and that energy can either imprison or liberate you. When you choose awareness, when you choose to face your truth, the same energy that caused you suffering becomes your strength. You no longer need to hide the cracks. They become windows through which light can enter. Healing is not an instant event. It is a process of honesty. On 11 October, allow yourself to be honest with your own heart. If it hurts, let it hurt. If it aches, let it ache. You cannot heal what you deny. You cannot find peace while you are still pretending to be fine. When you face your emotions, they lose their power. The fear of pain is often worse than the pain itself. Once you sit with it, breathe with it, and accept it, it begins to dissolve. That is the quiet miracle of awareness. It turns pain into peace without effort, without struggle. For many years, you may have thought that healing meant forgetting. But 11 October reveals the truth. Healing means remembering differently. You begin to see your story not as a collection of hurts, but as a series of lessons. Every challenge gave you depth. Every disappointment gave you perspective. Every heartbreak gave you understanding. When you shift your focus from what happened to what it taught you, you step out of suffering and into wisdom. Pain no longer defines you, it refines you. You are not broken, you are becoming. The process of healing is the process of unfolding, shedding layers that no longer serve you, releasing stories that no longer fit. 11th October represents that unfolding. It is the moment your heart decides to trust again, the moment your soul remembers its own strength. The more you resist pain, the more it stays. The more you allow it, the more it transforms. Healing begins where resistance ends. There will be moments when you feel tired, when old memories rise again. Don't fight them. 11th October reminds you that healing is not linear. It moves like waves, sometimes soft, sometimes strong, but always moving toward release. Each wave washes away what no longer belongs to you. Each breath brings you closer to peace. The more you allow yourself to feel, the freer you become. When you heal, you don't return to who you were, you become someone new. You begin to live lighter, speak gentler, love deeper. The pain that once closed your heart becomes the reason you understand others more deeply. And 11th October carries this transformation within it. It's the day the heaviness begins to lift, the day you stop asking, why me? And start saying, thank you for what this taught me. Gratitude replaces blame. Awareness replaces confusion. Peace replaces pain. Healing is not a miracle that happens outside of you. It is a choice you make with every breath. And 11 October stands as a reminder of that choice. You can continue hiding from your truth, or you can face it and free yourself. Every time you choose awareness over avoidance, you step closer to peace. Every time you choose forgiveness over anger, you step closer to freedom. Every time you choose to open your heart again, you rise above what once broke you. And 11th October symbolizes the quiet power of transformation. The moment your pain turns into wisdom, your wounds into light, your silence into understanding. It is not about erasing your story, it is about rewriting it from a place of strength. Let this day remind you that you are not the pain you once felt. You are the awareness that rose from it. You are the light that shines through it. You are the healing that has already begun.